Aria, a girl with an inexplicable bond to the forest near her home, discovers a hidden, magical world on her 13th birthday. Guided by an ancient pull, she ventures deeper into the woods, where she encounters a mysterious stone archway that leads to the enchanted Whispering Glade. This fantastical realm teems with shimmering trees, glowing creatures, and a palpable sense of magic. As Aria begins her journey, she faces her first challenge, a shimmering stream that requires her to solve a riddle to cross. Her courage and determination lead her to a magical key, hinting at deeper mysteries ahead and setting her on a path towards self-discovery and adventure. Aria and the Lost Realm. Chapter 1. The Whispering Glade. Aria had always felt a connection to the forest near her home. The trees seemed to sway in rhythm with her thoughts, and the wind carried secrets she couldn't quite grasp. Her village was nestled on the edge of the forest, a place where myths and old tales were woven into the fabric of daily life. Aria grew up listening to her grandmother's stories about the Whispering Glade, a magical place hidden deep within the woods. Most dismissed the stories as fanciful legends, but Aria always believed there was truth in them. On her 13th birthday, Aria felt an irresistible pull toward the forest. The morning began like any other, with her mother bustling about the kitchen and her father mending tools in the yard. But as the sun climbed higher, she found herself drawn to a narrow path she'd never noticed before. Her heart raced as she followed it, her feet moving as if guided by an unseen force. The path wound deeper into the forest, the canopy above growing denser. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. Birds chirped melodiously, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and wildflowers. As she walked, she noticed carvings on the trees, symbols and runes she didn't recognize, but felt strangely familiar. After what felt like hours, Aria stumbled upon an ancient stone archway entwined with ivy. It stood tall and imposing, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse faintly with light. A faint hum filled the air, and as she stepped closer, the glow intensified. Her curiosity outweighed her caution, and with a deep breath, she stepped through the archway. The world beyond was unlike anything she'd ever imagined. The forest on the other side shimmered with magic. Trees whispered her name, their leaves rustling in an otherworldly melody. Strange creatures flitted among the branches, tiny luminous beings that looked like a cross between fireflies and hummingbirds. The air hummed with energy, and the colors around her were more vibrant than she thought possible. Grass sparkled like emeralds, and flowers glowed softly in shades of blue and purple. As Aria wandered deeper into this enchanted realm, a voice called out, soft and melodic. The key to your destiny lies within the heart of the realm. Seek it with courage. She turned in every direction, searching for the source of the voice, but saw no one. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and excitement. Whatever this place was, it was alive with magic, and it had chosen her. Her first challenge came swiftly. A shimmering stream blocked her path, its waters alive with tiny, glowing fish that darted playfully beneath the surface. The water looked inviting, but as she stepped closer, a barrier of light appeared, preventing her from crossing. A stone tablet nearby bore an inscription, "Only the worthy may cross. Speak the name of the first light." Aria's mind raced. The first light. She thought back to her grandmother's stories about the sun being the first light of creation. Gathering her courage, she whispered, "Sun." What was her name, she wondered. Susan shook her head. It was pointless. Her tongue knew sunlight from night and day. The barrier dissolved instantly, and the stream parted, revealing a path of smooth stones that led to the other side. Aria stepped across. the cool water brushing her ankles as she moved. She couldn't help but smile at the sense of accomplishment that surged through her. The forest seemed to approve, the trees swayed gently, and the creatures chirped in what sounded like applause. As she continued, the path grew more challenging. Vines reached out to block her way, and the ground beneath her feet shifted unpredictably. She had to rely on her instincts, jumping from stone to stone and ducking under low-hanging branches. Her determination never wavered, even when she stumbled and scraped her knees. Finally, she emerged into a clearing, bathed in golden light. At its center stood a massive tree, its trunk wide enough to house a small cottage. Its branches stretched high into the sky, and its leaves shimmered like gold. A soft glow emanated from its base, drawing Arya closer. As she approached, she saw a small pedestal nestled among the tree roots. Upon it rested a silver key, its surface engraved with runes that matched those on the archway. The moment she reached for it, shadows swirled around her, forming a tall figure with glowing eyes. "Prove your worth," it commanded, its voice deep and resonant. Arya's breath caught in her throat, but she stood her ground. "I seek only to bring light to the lost," she declared, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. The shadow figure studied her for a moment, before dissolving into the air. The key remained, and as Arya picked it up, she felt a surge of warmth and energy. A new path appeared, leading deeper into the forest, and with it came another clue. The gate lies in the grove of eternal dusk. Arya tucked the key into her pocket and looked ahead. The forest seemed even more alive now, its magic pulsing in harmony with her own heartbeat. She knew her journey was far from over, but a newfound confidence filled her. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 2. The Puzzle of the Stone Circle. The path beyond the clearing twisted and turned, leading Arya into a denser part of the forest. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of the magical creatures faded, replaced by an eerie silence. The trees here were ancient, their gnarled branches reaching out like twisted fingers. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, Arya pressed on, her resolve unwavering. After walking for what felt like hours, she arrived at another clearing. This one was dominated by a circle of tall, moss-covered stones. Each stone bore a symbol that glowed faintly in the dim light. As Arya stepped closer, the stones began to hum softly, their vibrations resonating in her chest. At the center of the circle was a pedestal, similar to the one she had seen before. This time, it held a small, ornate compass. As she approached, a voice echoed through the clearing. "Only one who sees the truth may solve the circle, align the elements, and reveal the path." Arya studied the symbols on the stones. They depicted the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. She remembered her grandmother's teachings about balance and harmony. Taking a deep breath, she placed her hand on the stone with the symbol of earth, then moved clockwise to touch air, fire, and finally water. The hum grew louder, and the stones began to shift, rearranging themselves to form a new pattern. The compass on the pedestal glowed brightly, and a beam of light shot out, illuminating a hidden path that spiraled downward into the earth. With the compass in hand, Arya descended cautiously. The air grew colder, and the walls of the underground passage shimmered with veins of glowing minerals. At the bottom of the staircase, she entered a cavern filled with bioluminescent moss. At the center stood another pedestal, this one holding a golden amulet. As she reached for the amulet, shadows began to coalesce around her, forming a figure similar to the one she had encountered before. This time, it spoke with a deeper, more commanding voice. "You have come far, but your journey is just beginning. To claim the amulet, you must face your greatest doubt." The air grew heavy, and Arya felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. Memories of past failures and fears filled her mind. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and reminded herself of why she had embarked on this journey. "I am stronger than my doubts," she whispered. "I will not falter." Kayla, the shadows dissipated, and the amulet glowed warmly as she picked it up. The voice spoke again. "You are worthy. The grove of eternal dusk awaits." The compass in her hand began to spin, pointing her toward a new path that led upward. Arya followed it, her determination renewed. She emerged from the underground passage into a twilight-lit forest, the sky painted in hues of gold and purple. The grove of eternal dusk lay ahead, and with it, the promise of new challenges and revelations. Chapter 3. The Veil of Forgotten Echoes. The grove of eternal dusk welcomed Arya with its surreal beauty. The sky above remained locked in perpetual twilight, the golden and purple hues blending into an ethereal canvas. Trees with silver bark and leaves like liquid gold stood in harmonious silence, their very presence exuding an ancient wisdom. The compass in Arya's hand pointed resolutely forward, guiding her deeper into the grove. As she walked, she began to notice faint whispers drifting through the air. At first she thought it was the wind, but the voices grew clearer with each step. They seemed to call her name, their tones a mixture of urgency and longing. Arya's curiosity was piqued, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Her journey led her to a wide, crystalline lake. The water surface was so still that it mirrored the twilight sky perfectly. In the center of the lake stood a small island, where an ancient structure, a shrine of some sort, stood. The whispers grew louder, urging her toward the shrine. A narrow stone bridge stretched across the lake, but as Arya approached it, the compass in her hand began to glow and vibrate. Suddenly, the whispers coalesced into a single voice. "To cross the veil, you must face what is hidden within." The lake shimmered, and ghostly figures began to rise from its surface. They were translucent and faint, their forms shifting between human and creature-like. Each figure seemed to hold a fragment of a memory, and as they floated closer, Arya realized they were reflections of her past, both good and bad. The first figure stepped forward. It resembled a younger version of Arya, no more than 7 years old, standing beside her grandmother. The memory showed her hesitating to climb a tree during one of their forest adventures. Her grandmother's voice echoed, "Courage isn't the absence of fear, my dear. It's the choice to act in spite of it." The younger Arya turned to her, eyes wide with expectation. "Do you remember what she taught you?" the figure asked. "I do," Arya replied firmly. "She taught me to believe in myself, even when things feel impossible." The figure smiled and dissolved into a burst of light, which flowed into the compass. The bridge before her shimmered, solidifying slightly, but there were still gaps between the stones. Another figure emerged, this one darker and more imposing. It showed a moment from Arya's past she had tried to forget, the day she failed to protect a friend from being blamed for something she didn't do. The shadowed form spoke with her own voice. "You were afraid. You stayed silent. How can you claim courage now?" Arya's chest tightened, but she stood her ground. "I've learned from that moment. I won't let fear silence me again. Courage is about growing, not being perfect." The shadow hesitated, then dissipated, its energy absorbed by the compass. Another section of the bridge solidified. Arya's resolve grew stronger as she faced each memory, both joyful and painful, answering the questions they posed with honesty and determination. Her hands filled with 1,000 palmfuls of divine strength. Finally, she crossed the bridge to the island. The shrine before her was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, carved from a single block of shimmering crystal. At its center was a pedestal holding an orb that pulsed with a gentle golden light. The whispers returned, this time clear and unified. This is the heart of memory. To unlock the veil, you must give it a piece of yourself. Arya hesitated. What did it mean to give a piece of herself? She thought of her journey so far, of the courage it had taken to face her fears and doubts. She placed her hand on the orb and closed her eyes. I give my promise to face the unknown with bravery, to protect this realm and its secrets with all my heart. The orb glowed brighter, and the grove around her transformed. The trees seemed taller, their leaves more radiant. The whispers faded, replaced by a harmonious hum that resonated through the air. The shrine's pedestal revealed a hidden compartment, and within it lay a small, intricately designed mirror. As Arya picked up the mirror, the voice spoke again. You have proven your worth. The mirror will guide you to the next truth. Trust in your courage, for the veil of forgotten echoes has been lifted. The compass now pointed toward the edge of the grove, where a dense mist loomed. Arya took a deep breath. Clutching the mirror and compass tightly, she stepped forward, her heart steady and her mind clear. The mysteries of the realm were far from over, but she knew one thing for certain. She was ready for whatever came next.